Hello everyone, it's Sarah Spiker here. In a private conversation today, I was asked a beautiful question that I wanted to dive deeper in with you here today on a live stream. And as you can see in the description, the question goes, how to upgrade from a business built on excellence to the one that's fueled by genius and that is really fueled by this deeper meaning and mission and has more purpose behind it. So for those of you who have been following me, you know I am an epiphany of, is that how you say it? Epiphany of change and evolution and transformation. For those of you who are new to my circles, let me bring you a couple of years back, nearly a decade actually, where my business journey began. And through this storytelling, I will share with you some of the key lessons that I have learned and that I have been sharing with my own audiences and with my own clients on their own journey of transforming and upgrading and shifting and changing and growing. So for those of you, again, who are not familiar, in 2011, I lost my job when I found out I was pregnant. Even though it was nerve-wracking at the time, I do remember it being one of the best days ever because it gave me freedom to finally do what I really wanted to do. Besides, I was really shocked by how the system here was really hostile towards new moms. Remember, I'm an European. We do things very differently there when it comes to maternity leave and overall support when it comes to raising a family. So I decided to start my business thinking, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have all this time now. I'll be able to travel and take care of the baby and bring in all the money. And I had it all down on paper and it was going great. I was surprised actually how easy it was at the beginning to get it all up and running. And when my baby was born, yes, I was working from a hospital bed, but it was a joy. I felt this sense of pride. And as the years went by, my team grew. The agency started to take shape and we were working with amazing clients worldwide to the point where after my second one was born, I was able to give myself 3-month paid maternity leave. Pretty unheard of in the world of entrepreneurship and sole proprietorship. But then something shifted. I felt like I outgrew that business. And it was this textbook example of feeling the need and the call to upgrade, because yes, it was built on excellence. We had the skill set, we had the knowledge, we had the experience, we had the expertise, we had the tools, we had the system down, but it all felt so confining. And this decision to dissolve my team and pair the team members with the remaining clients and wave goodbye pretty much was scary. And yet there was something inside that kept pulling me, and that was this trust and this vision and this knowing that whatever is it on the other side, not only it's worthy, but it's already there. Otherwise I wouldn't have that vision. But what I did not anticipate was the amount of deep work it would require for me to get to that other side. Because the first time around, it was so easy, it was so quick. I figured, oh, done, right? Nope, not so much. There were a ton of lessons I had to learn about myself. There were a ton of layers I had to dig through, that I had to shed off, a ton of stories and patterns that I had to release and rethink and redesign and reimagine, that all brought me here today. So the first thing that I had learned, and that is also what I'm looking to and looking for in my clients, is this, this emptiness almost, when it's just like Glennon Doyle illustrated perfectly. It's like panting cheetah, or in my case, what I like to do, lioness that's being caged, but she's going back and forth, and she knows there's something more out there, but she's caged in here. So the first is giving yourself permission to even consider that there is something more out there. Because we have been going for so long, numbing this feeling, numbing all of the emotions, especially when the careers are stressful, especially when there's a ton of responsibility on our shoulders towards our businesses, our clients, our team, our families that are relying on us, right? Who has time to dream? Who has audacity to take risks? Not just that, how dare you wanting something more and something better for yourself? Be grateful for all that you have, right? Yeah, trust me, I've been there. So this is usually the first sign when my clients come to me and it's like, I just feel there's something more. So then the next step is figuring out what it would even be. And I was lucky enough to know that I was feeling called towards coaching and consulting. Ultimately, that evolved into mentoring. But there were still hooks that are pulling me back. And there were still ways when I was trying to overly compensate for that. And it became a very, a narrow line almost that I did not dare to cross, or I did not say it out loud. In a conversation with a mentor of mine, she's like, oh, you're not even a business coach, you're a life coach. And I was like, oh, come on, stop insulting me now. But it was very close to the ultimate truth, because more and more that I evolved, more and more distanced I felt from actual hardcore business. Even though it was my foundation, even though it is my knowledge, even though I can do business coaching and consulting with my eyes closed at 2:30 in the morning, it's this area of excellence, right? It was the natural conversations like we're having right now that are much more elevated and on a different path. That yes, business might be just a part of it, but overall, what is the life that we're creating? What is the legacy play we're stepping into? Business part is just a little piece of everything that gets to be addressed and realigned and redesigned and rethought and remodeled, reframed, rebuilt, whatever, So it reminded me of several of my clients who, one of them walked away from their 7-figure business. They finally gave themselves a permission to shift the industry, like doing 180. But yet they found themselves in a space of, shoot, I don't have anything to offer. I don't even know what my value is. I'm just the beginning, all the insecurities and self-doubt. So we really had to break it all down and really strategically approach not only shaping that big idea of theirs, but then strategically building the game plan as we were building up their confidence, so they could see themselves not only as somebody who could possibly accomplish and achieve and reach for what they envisioned, but who's already there. There was a client who remained in the same industry, but felt called to serve in a very different capacity, very similar to mine actually, going from done for you to consulting and coaching and mentoring. And they also got stuck in this paradigm of, oh shoot, I'm just getting started now. I have to start at the very beginning, completely dismissing 20 years of experience that are bringing to the game and they were building on, literally just changing the role in which they were serving, still bringing clients to the same results, right? So again, a very strategic approach and the same amount of intuition also, because there are things that are being unsaid, there are questions that are being unasked, there are things that, I simply have to trust that when I feel into it, they come to the surface and they become visible and viable and tangible. And oftentimes the client would go, oh, that's what it was, right? There was another one, and I shared their story not that long ago, that they have been this lioness in a cage for over 25 freaking years. It took them to give themselves permission to claim the gifts they were born with. To say, you know what? These are my gifts. This is my vision, and this is my dharma. And then, okay, great. Where do I go from there? And along their journey, they were called to leave their state and move cross country to a whole new location also, which was really scary. Luckily, I had that experience too of literally leaving everything behind and moving across the world to a whole new continent, barely speaking the language, in order to pursue the passion of basketball, and then continuously going. And when my heart got stuck, I'm still here after nearly 16 years. So from that experience, I was able to share some of the insights. And not just that, it was not about passing on my own experience in helping them, replicate those steps. It was more of holding the space for them to forge their own trail and the path that they felt called to create. There was another client who felt strongly about leaving their job. But again, it was highly paying job, highly regarded, with tremendous amount of respect in the community. It made their parents proud. It made their spouse happy and feeling secure, because it was, what we were always indoctrinated into. You need to get a job that pays benefits and that gives you vacation time and that pays well, so you can trade dollars for hours. Even though if it sucks your soul, be happy that you have it, right? So this client, again, felt called to get into a expert-based, service-based industry that was ultimately helping people achieve something that they have not achieved on their own. That was really a tripping point for them, because how could they possibly leave something so secured, right, to take a leap into something that first and foremost they would be a total imposter in there, right? And how could they possibly build the bridge and build a safety net for themselves? And hey, we did that too. In actual a couple of months, we were able to do just that. So all of these experiences and all of these stories and examples that I'm sharing with you are examples of somebody who really felt strongly to build and answer the call to do something different. But then there's also the ones who may not be feeling the need to do something different, but the ones who are now standing at the peak, looking around, it's like, oh my gosh, I have more than I could ever possibly ask for. But I know there's more available and I want more. How can I create more? And we do that too. And more in some ways may not even mean like, actually, what their tripping point oftentimes is just like I mentioned earlier, how could I possibly, how dare I, who am I to think, right? So once we get over that hump, then the fear comes in, because as we know, for those of you who might be familiar with hiking, once you're on top of a summit, you need to descend in order to get to the next one and the next one and the next one. So this descension process, it can be very scary and uncertain, thinking that now you just have to dump everything. And it doesn't necessarily have to be true. You could literally quantum leap to the next one and the next one and the next one. But it takes a very particular practice, so to speak, of as you're asking for more, as you want to receive more, you have to expand your container in order to be able to receive more and catch more, which means you have to empty the space out of all that no longer belongs. So in certain ways, yes, there are parallels with the, completely going 180 when you also release what no longer feels aligned. Into the one creating the container, energetic container, physical container, mental container, right? To receive now what you're being called to receive, to create what you're being called to create. Along the way, in either one of the scenarios, whether you're shifting and pivoting or you're just wanting more, the reason why it is so crucial and why I feel so blessed to be able to be there every step of the way with my clients is because I also know that as we start to unravel things, it's not just the business part, it's not just the relationships or parenting or just one aspect of life. It's like a domino effect. And it can be really scary when you are going through it and you are in the picture and you're so close to it, you literally don't see the frame, which is by no fault of your own. You can't see a frame when you're in the picture. But what starts to happen is, without, you can't anticipate what you don't know. You can see your blind spots. So, like I said, I feel honored and privileged and really grateful to be able to be along the way with my clients as we're navigating. And with my own distance, I can see what's behind the bend for them, and I can prepare them or help them navigate before we even get to the tripping point, right? And empower them and give them the tools that they need to simply step over something that might have been holding them back for another months or years even. So it's a very dynamic process. And that is why, to bring this to a close, that is why I personally subscribe under the belief or school of thought, so to speak, that this process, it might be able to start taking place in an environment where you're surrounded by a lot of like-minded people who are also on the journey. But eventually there comes time and there comes space where you absolutely need undivided attention. You need somebody who knows you better than you know yourself. I oftentimes know my clients better than their spouses do. And my own mentors know me in a way that my spouse doesn't know me. And that is this honor that I really cherish in my own business, and it was by design. It was another one of the shifts and conscious decisions when I was building my own business to circumvent almost the conventional wisdom of the typical value ladder and going for the masses and selling to the masses and not necessarily serving the masses. Not that long ago, I was offered something. We were in a conversation and they mentioned 60 to 75 clients per coach. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? It's not even possible, right? To serve them. And I was like, no, you're just scratching the surface. I was like, well, yeah, then that goes against every single fiber of my being, every single fiber of the fabric of the practice, the legacy that I'm building here. I want to touch lives in a meaningful way, in a deep way, in a highly transformative way, in a way that is electrifying, in a way that brings life back into them, right? Not scratching the surface. So as unconventional it might be, I take pride in the fact that we only work in private settings. We only work on a premium level, and not scratching surfaces or with some one-off courses or, shallow programs. And over the years, honestly, I was playing with it. It just never felt right. It never sat right with me. It never felt right. It never created the results that I was looking for, which was a clear sign that, hey, this is not the path that I was meant to walk. This is not the zone of genius for me. This is not my calling. So again, going from the space of excellence to really the one that's fueled by the deeper mission. Those are all the layers that I had to uncover and dig deeper and also make peace with, because my ego, yes, hell, I was bruised. Who wouldn't be when you make all these grand plans and then they flop entirely and you're blaming yourself and you're crunching the numbers and you're turning all the strategies around and you're trying to force them to happen. Of course the ego is bruised, but there's this beautiful spaciousness when you're just being, and when you tap into the highest level, when you're like, oh, you know what, there was not a mistake, it was not a coincidence, it was exactly how it needed to unfold, and it was a lesson that I needed to learn. And yes, for some reason it was painful, but hey, I took the lesson and I learned. And I listened and I realigned. So if you're just joining right now, I do invite you to, when we're done here, to go back to the beginning. And I do hope that you find this space within yourself, in your own heart, to give yourself permission to answer that calling, no matter where you are on your journey and no matter what is going on around you. I want you to know that you are the one who is, as we say it in Slovene, you're holding the scissors and the fabric. And you get to create exactly what you want to, exactly what you feel called to. And as we were discussing yesterday, yes, it is freaking scary. It can be painful. It can also be easy. It can also be beautiful. It can be all of it at the same time. And no, you don't have to be ready. You have to be willing to and open to. And sometimes daring. That's it. That's for today. I look forward to speaking to you tomorrow and catch you in between. If you have any questions or if you want to explore the possibilities of being guided, challenged, sharing the energy, having space held for, and really helping you create your own unique plan that elevates your ideas, expands your vision, and really breaks you out of the box and the norms, then reach out, send me a private message, and we can explore how that gets to look like. Take care.